Bismillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. Rabbi israh li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Allahumma la sahla illa ma ja'altahu sahla wa anta taj'alul husna idha shi'ta sahla. Rabbi zidni ilma. Like always, coming to this is a joy for me because this is for me an opportunity to share my 34 years of experience as a mom. And unlike other people who talk about parenting, I talk from experience and I talk from results. So some people can claim, this is the best way to raise children according to research, this and that. Mine is like, this is how you raise children and this is the result. So that's why I'm excited whenever I get the opportunity to join a group like this. For me, it's a form of sadaqah jariyah. Because if you can take home a small piece of advice or small tip, that would be great for my purpose of being served, And inshallah, remind me at the end of my talk that I want to share a tip with you. One step that can really increase your chance for Allah to bless you a pious child. So this I want to reserve it at the end. How many of you are aware about this book? This is Portraits of the Muslim. Okay, 1, 2. So a few hands, and this is before they came up with an app. If you have this phone, it's called Hisnul Muslim. So this is something. Hisnul Muslim. It's like it's a black app, and so if you get chance, if you don't have this book, which I think people is outdated now, but I would like to keep a copy beside me. Sometimes I prefer. And definitely you can download. And if you don't mind, I want to ask, what is this book about? What do you remember from the book or from the app?
Actually, it's been a while since it's outdated. My kids were little. I haven't seen it. There's a couple of hadiths in there.
I know. There's a collection of dua, Prophet Muhammad.
I think it's dua.
Yeah.
It's mostly like dua, hadith.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this book is a gem. This I think everybody should have. And this is something everybody should be doing every day. Actually, most of our time should be occupied about remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because in several ayat in the Quran, Allah has warned us that shaitan is an eternal enemy. Which means, if somebody has been declared by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as our enemy, that means we have to be planning ourselves. Like, you have an enemy in front of you, or you can see him, but Allah has declared that shaitan is an enemy to us. So what do? Should we just take it easy? No. We are at war, which means we have to arm ourselves. Which means we cannot take it easy. If he comes and mess up with your mind, there you go. So how to protect yourselves? So this is exactly what the Portraits of the Muslims book is all about, and which because I'm talking more about parenting, so I'm adjusting I'm making the topic more relevant in ways of mother to the child, how you can help them, make Adhkar a part of their lives, and eventually make it a second nature. Because this is something that can benefit them and something for you to lessen your problem. Because believe me, if you raise with the Adhkar is part of your tarbiyah for your children, at certain age you won't be worrying, where did you go? What did you do? Who were in that group? Are you're driving at night? Is it safe? For me, when my children does that, like now they're in their 30s, their 20s, I don't ask those kind of questions anymore, but I ask them, did you do your Adhkar this morning? Did you say your dua before you drive? Were you listening to Adhkar, you're listening to Quran the whole time? So these things, for me, lessen my worry, my anxiety, and definitely it can help a lot in terms of how you deal with your children. I just want to go over some of the ayah in the Quran that would remind us, how important and what a big warning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us about shaitan. So one of them is in Surah Baqarah. This is in Ayah. Surah Baqarah, no. Surah Baqarah, Ayah, I think 208. Let me see. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu dhkulu fil silmi kafatan wa la tattabi'u khutuwati syaitan innahu lakum aduwwum mubin. So in this ayah, Allah saying, you who believe, enter wholeheartedly into submission to Allah and do not follow in Shaitan's footsteps, for he is your sworn enemy. Also in Surah 35, Ayah 6, Allah said, Inna Shaitana lakum aduun fattakhiduhu aduwa innama yad'u hizbahu liyakunu min ashabis sa'ir. He said, Allah is telling us, warning us, Shaitan is your enemy, so treat him as an enemy and invites his followers only to enter the blazing fire. So now we know Shaitan is our enemy. Now we know we are in a state of war because Allah warned us, Shaitan is our enemy from the time we're born until we die. We heard of stories about scholars, scholars who were in their deathbed, still being, distracted by Shaitan, trying to mess up. Like one scholar was in his deathbed, and everybody around him was obviously crying and all, and you're dying and all. And he said, don't be sad for me, because I have read the Quran for 18,000 times. 18,000 times, we don't even come close. He made khutmah Quran for 18,000 times. And with that, gave him so much, so much confidence, so much assurance that, Allah's gonna take care of me. So this also something, although it's not related to our topic right now, this is something like for some of us who have not started reading the Quran, who don't know how to read the Quran, I think we should take the step now, before it's too late. There's no better time than now to start doing this thing. So Allah also mentioned, and He mentioned and He reminded us that when we are in a state of Adhkar, that's how we can find peace. Sometimes how you're depressed, sometimes how you're so anxious, what's gonna happen, so much anxiety, you're panicking, all these things, that's so uncertainty of the future. So Allah mentioned in Surah 13, chapter 20, the Surah Al-Ra'd, Alladina amanu watatma'innu qulubuhum bidhikrillah. Ala bidhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. Which means those who have faith and whose hearts find peace in the remembrance of God. Truly is in the remembrance of God that hearts find peace. So which means, although we're in a state of war, Allah has given us the steps how to do this. Okay, so now you know how much important Adhkar is. We have to spend our time actually in always constant state of Adhkar. So what's beautiful about our religion, what's beautiful about Islam, Islam teaches us a dua when we're happy, when we're sad, when we're excited, when we're, wearing a new set of clothes, when we're entering the washing, when we're going out of the washing, when we're going to the masjid, when you're about to drive. Every situation, every events, we have dua. So we are not only remembering Allah in good times, bad times, and in between. In other words, for the person to want to be successful and really well connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the key is to be connected to Him. Connected through dhikr. Okay, so now we know the benefits of this Adhkar. I want to mention again, some of of the Adhkar that made me so, like, it's just amazing how, if you have, for example, a person who's doing Adhkar and a person who's not doing Adhkar. There's a big difference. Why? Let me tell you an example. A person who's always doing Adhkar, he starts his day by making this dua in the morning. Okay, this is the dua. If you, okay, one of the Adhkar in the morning, and also in the evening, you just change the, whichever time you did it. It says, Asbahna wa asbah al-mulku lillahi rabbil alamin. Allahumma inni as'aluka khayra hadha al-yawm. Fathahu wa nasrahu wa nurahu wa barakatahu wa hudahu wa a'udhu bika min sharri ma fihi wa sharri ma ba'dahu. This means we have reached the morning, and at this time, all sovereignty belongs to Allah, Lord of the world. Oh Allah, it says, oh Allah. So you're asking, Allah, I ask you for the good of this day, its triumph, and its victories, its light, its blessings, and its guidance. And I take refuge in you from the evil of this day and the evil that follows it. How amazing is that? You're just about to start your day, and you're asking Allah for all the protection, for all the guidance, for all the light. Versus somebody who wakes up and starts the day immediately. Do you see the difference? Her day will be filled with barakah, filled with guidance. Everything, as Allah is always sending groups of angels to protect her. Versus somebody just wake up all out. So she is now exposed to all these, things that can happen because it's not under the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why it's very important. I know a lot of us are beginners here. I'm not going to overwhelm you with a lot of the du'as. But as you go deeper into the Adhkar, it's an amazing tool if you can do it. Because what happens, especially when you have children, okay? I'll give you an example. When my children were small, I used to just tell them, Bismillah. I would just tell them to say Bismillah. Whenever you want to do anything, Bismillah, in the name of Allah, which means you are already protected by Allah. So nothing can harm you, and all this because you are asking Allah to protect you. So at night, when they forgot something in the car, so they're small, 5 years old. Oh, Mama, I forgot something in the car. Okay, go, I'll open the car for you. Say, but it's dark. What did Mama say about when we're scared? Oh, I should just say Bismillah, and then I can go. I should not be afraid, right? So that simple step, by just teaching them how to say Bismillah, and the meaning had impacted her so much that now, you know what? If I say Bismillah, I can just go out. I'm not scared anymore because I'm under the protection of Allah. So the same thing when you will do with your children. For example, they're hesitant to do something. No, don't be afraid. Say Bismillah. Remember, this is what you need to do. So then again, you're empowering the child, building the self-confidence, making her independent. And eventually, as they grow up, this becomes second nature, and nothing can stop them. Because what stops them? All the hesitation, all the anxieties. But when you connect them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, look, you are connected. Allah controls everything in this world. And, outside, at the whole universe. Why are you afraid of anything? When you're already under protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's one thing. I think for now, like a beginning step, we can just emphasize to our children, everything you do, say Bismillah. So at least you get the barakah, you get the guidance, you get, the blessings of what you're doing. And the other one is to say always Alhamdulillah. In any event, be good or bad, say Alhamdulillah. It was meant to be. Good, Alhamdulillah, it was good. And if you train your child to be always talking like this, you have a child who's always grateful. A child who doesn't doubt whatever the outcome of the day, because the child will always say Alhamdulillah, it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of course, another example, I want to give you one example. When the children were growing up, and they did very well in the exams, right? So they did very well in the exams. So they come home and they say, oh, Mama, I did so well. I said, no. Make sujood and say, Alhamdulillah. Allah made it easy for me. So you have to go back and connect the source of that, the blessing, source of the achievement. It's all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these things, again, you're connecting the child. Look, anything, good or bad, you always have to thank Allah for it. And that way, the child is always connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what are some of the steps that we need to do, in order to instill this, always be in a state of Adhkar? So of course, as the mom, we are the primary teacher. We are the role model for our children. So how can we teach our children to be in a state of Adhkar when we're not doing it ourselves, right? When something happens, we're just looking at the phone and, flip reels after reels, or just keeping up with what's being posted. That's not the way. So we have to really educate ourselves. Like I started with nothing. I was born a Muslim, but I grew up not practicing very well because I did not know. I just know you don't eat pork, you don't drink wine. Are you supposed to make salah? Yeah, when you're free. So then my mistake was, because I grew up in an environment where, you have to do this because you have to. Why do I have to do this? No, you just have to do it. So there was no good explanation. And that time also, there was not enough materials for me to research. So when I came to US, alhamdulillah, with the guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through my husband explained, redefined to me what's Islam. And from there, I started knowing the real Islam. And every time I have increased in my knowledge, I fell in love with the deen more and more. So that's why first thing, we have to educate ourselves. As mom, we have to know these things. I know it's overwhelming. Start with small step. Small step. Maybe one dua, important dua. Like what are some of my favorite dua? I think this is, if you can, practice this one. This is like encompassing all situations. Like for example, when my children are afraid and they're like stressed with so many things to do, Mama, I don't know what to do. What should I? Alhamdulillah, I taught them this dua. This dua is, this is the dua for. You say, Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyumu, bi rahmatika astaghithu, aslih li sha'ni, kullahu wa la takilni ila nafsi tarfata ayni. What does it mean? You're asking, O ever living, O self-subsisting, and supporter of all, by your mercy I seek assistance. Rectify for me all my affairs, and do not leave me to myself, even for the blink of an eye. So you're actually asking Allah, don't leave me, like, the blink of the eye is just like this. So you're not asking Allah to leave me, to always protect you. This simple dua is very empowering. Like if you know this, any situation you're not sure, you're afraid, just say this one, and you will see amazing results.